Hey guys, so some of you guys were asking me for my notes, and we were talking about we could do this in class, in lunch, whatever. We could go over it and stuff, and we could study it together, and I decided to make this video. Don't mind the stuff on my face. I'm filming this at 9 p.m. by the way. So, yeah. So I'm going to be doing the first lesson right now. Or some of the first lesson. I don't know how much I'll get through it, but yeah, pretty much. I actually have my book here with me right now, and I recommend you take your book home with you and get permission from Sister Samad. And I'm making this video because a lot of us know that we're not learning properly in science class and she's not teaching much. So we were talking about it at school, and we were talking about how we could share notes and stuff like that. So I decided to make this video. Anybody who doesn't want to study more doesn't have to watch the video. Okay, so you can find the textbook on solacerealize.com also. And I recommend you read the first lesson before we start reading together, and I tell you notes, I tell you points, I tell you all those key stuff. By the way, this is the best that I can do. I am only 14 years old, so I'm not going to be teaching it as good as a teacher would, so please keep that in mind. Okay, let's begin. What is science? What science is and is not. This book will help you understand how biologists try and make sense of nature. These pages are filled with many scientific facts and ideas. But one of the first things you should understand is that scientific knowledge is always changing. Some facts and ideas you'll find here may have changed since this text was written, and others will change soon. Why? Because scientists are constantly testing, debating, and revising scientific explanations of events in the natural world. That constant testing and revising helps explain why scientists don't believe in scientific facts. Scientists either understand and accept particular scientific explanation of the natural world, or they reject that explanation. But what if science is not a list of unchanging facts and beliefs? Then what is it? The nature of science. The term science is usually defined as the use of evidence to construct testable explanations and predictions. Write this in your notes. I wrote it here. I shortened it up a little bit. Science, meaning is the use of evidence to construct testable explanations, or science is an organized way of collecting, gathering, and analyzing evidence in the natural world. So, the nature of science. The term science is usually defined as the use of evidence to construct testable... Oh, I already read this part. Most importantly, science is a process, an organized way of observing and asking questions about the natural world, developing those questions into testable explanations, and gathering and analyzing data that supports or rejects those explanations. The word science can also refer to the constantly growing and changing body of knowledge that the process of science generates. So over here it's talking about how science isn't exactly cold hard fact. It's basically scientists accept one theory. Scientists don't accept the other. This may change over time, blah, 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 blah. And it's talking about what science is, how it's basically how science is an organized way of collecting and gathering and analyzing evidence, and how it's basically the use of evidence to construct testable explanations and predictions. Write this down in your notes, because Sister Summer said it's going to be on the test. Okay. How is science different from the other ways of explaining how the world works? First, science deals with only the natural world. Only the natural world, not the supernatural world, the natural world. Plants, animals, stuff like that. Scientific research never concerns in any way supernatural phenomenon of any kind. Second, scientists collect and organize information in an orderly way. I recommend you write this down. Looking at events for patterns and connections, I recommend you write this down too, of evidence and understanding, not belief. Some ways that scientists study the natural world are shown in Figure 1.1. I recommend you have your book out, so if you want to look at Figure 1, then go ahead. The goals of science. Science is based on the view that the physical universe is composed of interacting parts and processes from scientific perspective. All objects in the universe and all interactions among those objects are governed by universal natural laws. the same natural laws that apply whether the object and events are large, like a hurricane, or small, like the cells in your body. Science, change, and uncertainty. Scientists have gathered lots of important information that helps cure and prevent disease, grow food, and link the world electronically. Yet much of nature still remains a mystery. Almost every scientific discovery raises more questions than it answers. Often, research yields surprises that point future studies in new and unexpected directions. This constant change doesn't mean that science has failed. On the contrary, it shows that science continues to advance. So basically, science is always advancing. Like I said, it's always changing. The theories are always changing. When we look at the history of science, which is probably something we're going to learn in chemistry if we learn about the history of chemistry next year. I know this because in my old school, we did chemistry, we did like non-advanced chemistry in 8th grade, and then like in 10th grade, I think you do advanced chemistry. So I know some stuff about the history of chemistry. Basically, when you learn about the history of science, you can see that like so many things change over time. Like they would think something, and then it would be completely different 200 years later, because it's always changing. And right now, all the theories that we have could and will probably change in the future. That's why studying science means more than just memorizing what we know. It also means understanding what we don't know. You may be surprised to hear this, but science rarely proves anything. Scientists aim for the best understanding of the natural world that current methods can reveal. Uncertainty is always part of the scientific process, and it is part of what makes science exciting. We hope to show you that We hope to show you that understanding science isn't just about learning facts. We hope you gain some understanding of the spirit of scientific inquiry, the way scientists think, and of both processes and excitement of journey. Don't just memorize scientific facts and ideas. And please don't believe them just because they are in this textbook. Instead, try to understand how scientists develop those ideas. Pose the kinds of questions scientists ask. Try to see if they're thinking behind the experiments we describe.